Hey, my name is Gary Mindel, and I'm the senior pastor at Harbor Light, and I've been serving in that role for 16 years, and we are so excited about where we're going in this small group campaign. Hey, welcome to the Harbor Light Small Group Experience. Life is better together. In this small group campaign, we're going to be covering 6 vital things to help you grow as a Christian and in your relationships with other people. We're going to cover fellowship, prayer, we're going to cover care and support, as well as outreach or reaching out, and we're going to be covering Bible study and going out. We're going to look at fellowship. The world that we're living in today, it's a very lonely world. Sure, people have opportunities for, social media connections, cell phone connection through texting, and also just, ease of travel. We can travel almost anywhere very easily, yet our world, people are feeling more and more lonely. So we as a church, we want to help people have those deep connections, both with each other and with God. This term fellowship, it's kind of a churchy term. You don't generally hear this idea outside of the church walls. Outside the church walls, you'll hear words and phrases like deep connections, or companionship, or even friendship. But they really all do point back to this idea of fellowship. The church has the idea of fellowship because we're doing life together, and we're celebrating both the positive parts of life, and we're there to encourage each other when life gets tough. Fellowship is an awesome, wonderful opportunity that we have to have relationship with other people and relationship with God. When we think about God, it's very important for you to know that God is all about relationship, and He's all about this idea of fellowship. As a matter of fact, His very character and nature is that He's a triune God, or 3 in 1. You have Father and Son and Spirit. And we see over and over and over in the Scripture the wonderful relationship they have with each other. They submit to each other, they're always promoting each other, supporting each other, and helping each other. Now, this fellowship with God is so rich and so wonderful that they've made room for us to have fellowship with them, or our relationship with God. Fellowship is an awesome, awesome idea, and it's a reflection of our God. Our God created us to need fellowship. God never intended for a person to be alone. He created us so that we would have relationship with other people. No one is to be living on an island by themselves. I'd like to share with you one of my favorite verses in the New Testament. It's Revelation chapter 3, verse 20. And it says, "Look, I stand at the door and knock. And if you hear my voice and open the door and allow me to come in, we will sit and share a meal together as friends." Why do I like that verse so much? Because it shows us a pathway or a system of saying, you know what, God, I know you want a relationship with me. I'm going to open up my life to you, invite you to be a part of it, and that we're going to develop this relationship together as friends. The church, and our goal is to help you develop that relationship with God, and to do that through the context of relationships with others. The church is critical to the growth of people, both in their faith journey and interpersonally with other people. The church needs to be a place that's safe so that we can be real with each other, and at the same time point each other towards the truth of the Word and our relationship with God. And so the church needs to be a place that we help people. And if we're not safe and we haven't created an atmosphere for people to be real and grow, then the church isn't doing its job. The church is to help you grow in your relationship with God and your relationship with others. See, we're all different. We've been created with things that are very unique to who we are as a person. And those uniquenesses, so to speak, sometimes can rub against the differences that we have with other people. And it's through the context of relationship that we find an opportunity for us to grow personally and in our faith. Think about that. Maybe you have a problem with a coworker or a neighbor, and they seem to kind of rub you the wrong way, and it brings out something in you you didn't realize was there. But that gives you an opportunity to give that to God and to receive His forgiveness and exercise grace and give grace to each other. And so it's these interpersonal relationships that help us grow. We believe that the most growth that's going to take place in your life is always in the context of relationships with other people. It's never in isolation or by yourself. It's always going to be in fellowship with other people. It's important for us to realize that God's growing us and maturing us and helping us become more like Jesus. And that's our goal as believers and followers, is to be more like Jesus. Let's be like God. Let's enjoy fellowship and invite other people to be a part of our lives as well. Studies show that when people develop relationships with each other or have fellowship with each other, it really takes place with these two determining factors. These are the most important factors: close proximity to each other and then common interests. Many times people think common interests are more important, but really the fact is we need to be close to people so that we can develop those relationships. Now, in this small group study, you've got people joining together that you've never met before, and you're all very, very different. But you all have the common interest to develop relationships, and so we're going to encourage you to love on each other and help each other out and to build that relationship, develop those friendships, have those discussions, and find out more about each other. But you need to do that by spending time together. And so over these 6 weeks that we're together, make this a priority and make this a real focus, is to get to know other people and welcome them into your life. As I just said, open up the door of your heart and invite them to come in and share a meal together as friends. I'd like to share with you a story from my past. As a child growing up, my dad's work caused us to have to move around a lot, and so I was in 8 different schools before I made it to high school. And with that, I was always in a new neighborhood or a new school, and it forced me to have new relationships all the time. The long-lasting relationships just didn't exist because we were always somewhere else new. But I started to enjoy forming new relationships with people. I thought, hey, I've got to do it, because if I don't find out who lives next door or lives on the block, I'm not going to have any friends. I built relationships with people after finding out who was in my neighborhood and what their interests were. Now that's helped me in my life. I enjoy being a part of a small group. One of the things I enjoy about being a pastor, part of my role, is to meet brand new people. Almost every Sunday morning at Harbor Light, I have a chance to meet someone brand new. And I enjoy that. I love learning and then finding out about them and discovering how God's created them and how we can have common ground together. One of the things that you're going to be doing next is having a discussion and talking about fellowship. This is one of the richest parts about being in a small group. I want to encourage you to make sure you make contact with every person in your group, find out their name and something that they find special in their life, something that they have an interest in, and then associate those two things together. So a name and something that they're really into, maybe a hobby or a collection or something like that. We want to encourage you. We're going to be moving next week into prayer, and you're going to have an opportunity to develop that in your small group as well as your communication with God. Thank you. And always remember, life is better together.